So, you've just announced your retirement. Why now?
I think over the years when I've seen players retire, when you ask them about it, they always say you'll know when you're ready. And I think I know when I'm ready. I think I'm ready.
You think or you know?
I think. I love the game so much. You know how much we love the game, and I just feel that. I don't know. It's the right time. I believe it's the right time. But I'll always feel that I can do more. That's the problem.
When did that moment come? When did it hit you?
Probably when Messi was running past me in that home game. No. When did I feel? I actually don't know. I just feel that I've been so lucky throughout my career. I just feel that, the fact that I've played for the clubs that I've played for, the players that I've played with, won the trophies that I've won. Playing in the MLS last year, winning the championship there, and then coming to PSG and winning the French league here. I think it's a good way to go out.
You've been a football player for 22 years. For 6 years of that 22, more than 25%, you lived in Salford, in Lower Broughton Road. How much did those early days, 16 to 22, have an impact on that discipline to be a hard-working player? How much of it was already in you, and how much of it was taught to you by the people that were around you in those early years at Manchester United?
The early years of my career at Manchester was the foundation of my whole life and my whole career. Without those early years of living in lodgings, coming up from London to live in Manchester, living in the lodgings, playing with the players that I played with, watching the first team train, cleaning their boots, cleaning the showers, cleaning the baths, going through the things that we went through as youth team players. That's what shaped my career. Without that, I probably wouldn't have never have achieved what I've achieved, in my career, because, to have had the stability, to have had the aggression of coaches that we had, with Nobby Stiles, Eric Harrison, Archie Knox, obviously the boss. These are the coaches that have made my career.
The goal against Wimbledon, which obviously television had changed, the Premier League had come, but was that the one moment? Because it seems to me that was a huge moment from football going from here to there, and you were almost at the forefront of that. Do you recognise that?
I never think of it like that. I never think that certain moments in my career have changed, what's gone on in football. People say that about, obviously, the Greece goal, people say that about certain moments throughout my career, but, scoring the goal against Wimbledon, I was more pleased that Cantona came up to me in the change room and said great goal than thinking about anything else. So I don't look at it like that. People ask me what was the best moment in my career. I don't even have to think about it. Being at Manchester United from 15 years old, being able to go into the changing room, see Brian Robson, Steve Bruce and Norman Davis asking me to pick a pair of socks up or a pair of underpants of Brian Robson's. That was what made me want to be at Manchester United, and that's what I love. That's what changed my life. It's what, when I look back at my career, it's what I'm most proud of, to have said that I've played for Manchester United and won and been successful with Manchester United. Nothing compares to that. When I look back at the career that I had there, and I owe almost everything to the manager for that. The boss, he was the person that brought me to the club. He was the person that signed me. He was the person that gave us the opportunity to play for the club that we loved. And I'll forever be grateful to him solely for that reason. And I think the moment we won the treble, the moment we won the European Cup, you never really saw too much emotion from the manager. But I think that night I personally you could see he was so proud that he'd won the European Cup, not just for Manchester United, but so proud that he'd seen so many of us come through as kids and go on to win the biggest football competition for Manchester United.
Do you wish you'd stayed longer? Do you wish you'd done little things differently? Do you have any regrets about that period in your career?
I mean, I always say that, you know, I haven't got any regrets. There's certain things that, like I said, I don't have any regrets, but there's certain things that I look back and I think I should have done different and should have been different. But I think when I was at Manchester United, you know, at 23, 24, 25 years old, you know, I was headstrong, I was stubborn, and I think there was moments where I look back and I think maybe I should have been different, maybe I should have done things different, but
anything you want to go into detail in or not?
Not really, because I think you know moments and I know moments, but I think, you know, I wouldn't change anything at the end of the day. You know, I don't regret anything, but are there things that I wish I'd have done different? Of course.
You moved on from United to Madrid, which is completely the opposite. You had so many managers in a short period of time. How did that affect you in terms of the difference between United, where you had one manager, and then numerous managers in a short space of time?
I mean, I think that was hard. You know, that was a hard moment in my career, because I went from such stability with Manchester United, like you said, with one manager, the same kind of players throughout that time at Manchester United, and then I moved to Madrid, where I think I had 4 managers in 4 years or 5 managers in 4 years, and that was not natural for me, and I was totally out my comfort zone, but I adapted.
It was only in the last few months really where obviously you'd been left out of the team. I think Fabio Capello was the manager at the time, then you got back in, but then you'd agreed to go to LA Galaxy. Was that something that you wish you'd give a bit more time to, or were you happy? Were you ready to go to America? Because you always wanted to go to America, didn't you?
Yeah, it was, you know, I got to a point in my career where it was a passion of mine to go to America and to try and achieve, you know, making football bigger in the United States. But when obviously when I was at Madrid, I'd gone through so many different emotions in that last year. I'd gone from being an England player to not being an England player, missing 11 games under Steve McLaren, to then being brought back, to then being at Real Madrid, being told by Fabio Capello that I wouldn't play for the club again, and that I know wasn't coming from him, it was coming from somewhere else, but because I have so much respect for him as a person, as a manager, and he always supported me throughout, you know, the career that I had with him as a manager, and then obviously being brought back into the team, winning the league with Real Madrid, which was a huge thing, and then obviously making the decision of going to America. You know, that was a big thing, because before Florentino Perez left Real Madrid, he'd literally just offered me a new 4-year contract, which I'd agreed to sign. And then obviously Calderon came in and things turned around, and
were the politics hard there, different for you to understand, or difficult for you to understand?
I just didn't understand it. You know, the politics side of the club was hard to understand, because one minute there was one president in that loved me and that wanted me to sign for another 4 years, and then the next minute there was a different president in, and things, you know, from me being at a club like Manchester United that was totally stable for the amount of time that I was there, to then going to a club which was obviously run totally differently. I'm not saying it's wrong, but you know, it's obviously run differently. But I think, you know, when we talk about stability, you know, that's where success comes from.
But you wouldn't change the experience of playing with Zidane and Figo, Ronaldo, Roberto Carlos, Raúl, and all those players, would you?
No, 100%. I would never change anything about my career. You know, I always thought that I would start at Manchester United and leave at Manchester United. You know, finish playing there. That changed obviously when I moved to Real Madrid. But my dream when I left Man United was to play for another one of the biggest clubs in the world, and my dream was to play with the likes of Ronaldo and Zidane and Roberto Carlos and Raúl. You know, these you look back at, you know, I look back at my career, and I've gained so much experience from playing with these players and playing in different teams, and I'd never change that because I think it's helped me. I think it's helped me as a player. I think it's helped me as an individual to understand different cultures and different way of playing, and I think it's helped me in, you know, my game with England as well. So I would never change anything.
When you went to America, I mean, obviously for me, looking at it from somebody who knows you, but somebody as a football person as well, thinking you've got more to give in the big leagues. Was the part of you that was nervous about, you know, going over to America and playing in what is not the same standards football as the Spanish league or as the English league, or was it more of a lifestyle decision and obviously ambition to create a bigger MLS, if you like, a bigger game in America? Was it both of those things, or was it just a period you wanted to get away from Europe?
It was never a lifestyle decision.
No.
You know, I understood that it would be a great lifestyle for my family, for the kids, but for me personally, you know, Victoria knows, everyone knows around me, my decisions about playing are made solely about playing. It's not about a lifestyle. Of course, it was a great lifestyle over there, but you know, my initial decision was I want to go there because I want to raise the profile of football. And of course, I was nervous. You know, I was nervous because it was another challenge. I'm always nervous when I make a decision about a big challenge, and I knew it was going to be a big one. I knew people might criticise me for it and say, you know, you're 31 years old, you've still got a good few years left playing top level. But I knew that I'd made the right decision. I knew that I wanted to go to America and be part of something that is getting bigger. And in the 6 years that I played there, I saw so many changes happen. I saw so much more interest in the game, and that is what made it worth it for me. You know, I wanted to be successful with the Galaxy. I wanted to win a championship, but I understood my role as an ambassador. I understood my role as a player that was coming to, you know, a new city and a new environment. I knew that I had to work hard outside of the game as well.
Let's talk about England, because you had enormous pride. You have enormous pride even now about England, but you had enormous pride in playing for your country. It was almost the most important thing to you.
Yeah, I think, you know, as a young kid, I had two dreams. One, to play for Manchester United, and two, to play for England. Not in that order. You know, Manchester United meant so much to me, but I think as an Englishman, you know, I wanted to represent my country. I wanted to captain my country. I wanted to play in World Cups. I wanted to score goals at Wembley. I was able to do that. Not with England, I didn't score any goals, but with Manchester United, obviously scoring at Wembley. But playing for England was the highlight of my career. It always has been and always will be. I'm very proud of what I've achieved throughout my England career. I'm very proud to have played for my country for 115 times. You know, it's something that when my boys look back, and my little girl will look back and she'll be like, my daddy played for England for 115 times. You know, that's special.
That's probably the most emotional I've ever seen you in 2006, where you had to give up the captaincy. It was almost like you just did not want that to happen. It was almost like you were letting go of something that was so important to you.
I think that was one of the most emotional times. You know, I am an emotional person, but I kind of try and keep it in when I have, you know, an audience. But it got the best of me that day, the better of me that day. To sit in front of, you know, the journalists and you know, national TV and say I'm giving up the captaincy, that was difficult. You know, we'd just been knocked out of a competition. I had no sleep the night before through, you know, obviously being knocked out and the disappointment of that, and then obviously to have to wake up and know that I'm going to sit there and hand the captaincy over. That was difficult, because being given the captain's armband for my country was the proudest moment of my career. without a doubt. You know, to walk out, you know, for England against Italy, wearing the armband for the first time, that was emotional. And then to know that I had to hand it over and it was the right time. But you know, we talk about knowing the right time for my retirement. I knew that it was the right time. As hard as it was, I knew that it was the right time to hand it over.
The stimulation, adrenaline, the buzz of the change room, the banter, everything that you are a footballer for is not going to be there. What are you going to do?
I think I'm always going to need to keep busy because I'm that kind of person. You know, I want to work. I want to be busy. I want to continue to work hard to do what I'm doing outside of the game. But I've been away from home since 1991, and it's time for me to go home to London. It's time for me to, you know, spend time with my family, see my children, see my wife. You know, be home with my parents. You know, it's simple things of popping round to see my nan, simple things of popping round to take my mum for breakfast. You know, I haven't been able to do that for 22 years. So those are the things, those are the little things that are going to be special to me. You know, I've loved what I've done through my career. I've loved every place that I've lived. You know, I've tried to make every city my home. You know, wherever I've gone, whether it be Manchester for the amount of time that I lived there, you know, obviously Madrid, LA, when I lived in Milan, and obviously living in Paris, I've always tried to, you know, change myself into that culture. But I haven't lived in London for a long, long time, and I'm looking forward to going home.
Something I've never understood, but bear with me a second. You go to a hotel room for a night, and you depersonalise that hotel room from all the books, all the magazines, all the room service menus. You bring, I don't know what your candle bill has been for the last 22 years, but you bring candles with you, you bring pictures of the family, and you make, even if it's just for one night, that hotel room your home. Is that because you've never been home?
It probably is. I've never thought of it that way, because, you know,
I just thought it was weird.
I mean, we've obviously shared rooms. And
A sausage roll on my side. And a candle just fluttering on the other.
I've never thought of it that way, but maybe consciously that's what I kind of have missed. You know, I've missed being at home, and I haven't had that for a number of years. But it's true, you know, when I go into a hotel room, whether it's a night or whether it's a week or whether it's a month, I need to feel as if, you know, it's my home. But you know, I'll be in my real home in a few weeks, and that's going to be special.
Will you be a coach, a manager?
I don't want to be a coach or a manager. You know, I think I'll always be involved in the game in some way. But I think that's where what I've done outside of my football comes into play now. I think that's what I'm excited about, to be honest. You know, I've been able to do so many things throughout my career outside of the game. I think that's what I'm looking forward to doing. I've got plans with so many different things, and now obviously not going into training every day, not being so regimented with what I have to do. As a footballer, it enables me to be able to, you know, go and do other things and be involved in other things, and I think that's why I'm glad that I've done the things that I've done outside of my career. How
will you stay in football and connected to football and have an impact in football?
Well,
it's been in the papers that, you know, suggested owner of a football club, ambassador. Are they the type of things that would interest you?
Yeah, definitely. You know, obviously I've got the option of owning a football club in the MLS, and I will do that. That's one of the things that obviously plans have been put into place with that.
Hands-on?
Pretty hands-on. Pretty hands-on.
Stability?
Stability, yeah. Stability, unless the manager's crap. But no, I think, you know, I've obviously got that option. Over the last 5 years, I've kind of grown into doing ambassadorial stuff, whether it's been for the club that I've been at, or whether it's been for England, or whether it's been, you know, things like with the Olympics and the World Cup bids. You know, that's been something that I've been passionate about, and a role that I've actually really enjoyed.
And the media, I mean, I woke up a month ago and it said Beckham signs for Sky, I'm thinking, I quite like Monday Night Football. I better go and get a new suit as well. Does the media interest you or not?
No.
No.
No, not. You know, I think I'm not as good as you at what you do on a Monday
Talking.
night. So no, obviously I'm very proud to be part of Sky. I'm very proud to have the partners that I've got. You know, outside of the game, but you know, the media side of things I'll leave to you and to other people to do, because you know, you are better at talking than me. You always have been.
How do you want to be remembered as a football player, as a person over this last 22 years and everything that you've achieved? As someone who did what, achieved what? What's most important to you?
I just want people to see me as a hard-working footballer, someone that's passionate about the game, and someone that every time I stepped on the pitch, I've given everything that I have, because that's how I feel going into games at the end of my career. That's how I look back on it and hope people will see me.
Well, you'll be remembered for many, many things. You had an incredible career. Congratulations and good luck in the future, mate. Well done.
Thank you very much.
Well done.
Hey. Ooh. Yeah, man. Hey. Oh. Hey, David, you think you can get that trash can over there?
Yeah.
Really? How about all three of them?
It's even easy.
What? Okay, here's two more. Come on. No! No freaking way! Oh man, this is not happening. This is not happening. Oh, no. Yes! That's what. Oh! David Beckham, man. Give me some of that. This is